and welcome to News 10. My name is Haley Raposa, and I'm reporting live from Elk Grove, where I have remarkable news. We have a new system of government in the United States called the Constitution. You might be all asking the same question. You're probably wondering how government works now. Well, there are 3 branches in the government. Imagine that the government is a pie. If you cut it in thirds, it is all still the same pie. Say this piece represents the legislative branch, this piece represents the executive branch, and this piece represents the judicial branch. You also might be wondering what legislative, executive, and judicial mean. Well, legislative is the law, executive is the president, and judicial is court, to put it in simple terms. Each group is separate, but together, like the pie. This branch, the legislative branch, is a bicameral, meaning that it is divided into 2 branches. The first is called the Senate. The Senate does confirmations, treaties, and lengthy deliberations. There are 2 senators, and they each have 6-year terms. The other house is the House of Representatives. They handle tax or fiscal matters. They have 2-year terms. The executive branch is the presidency branch. This branch handles signing or vetoing legislation, making treaties. It is the commander-in-chief of armed forces and handles pardons and appointments. Last and weakest is the judicial branch. Not much about this branch is mentioned in the Constitution, but it is in charge of court. You might be wondering how each branch keeps from getting overpowered by the other branches. Each branch has a check and balance. This means that with each advantage, there is a disadvantage. Meaning that, in a matter of speaking, the legislative branch is in charge of the executive branch is in charge of the judicial branch, and the judicial branch is in charge of the legislative branch. In this way, the branches are kept from getting too much power. Here is an example of checks and balances. Here you see a chart of all the responsibilities, checks, and balances of each branch. We listed all the responsibilities before, but it also lists how they keep the other branches in check. For example, the executive branch, or the president, is responsible for, or has the power to, veto laws. However, the legislative branch can overpower the veto if they see it unconstitutional. Another example would be the legislative branch makes the laws, but the judicial branch enforces them. Also, if the judicial branch has a new justice, they can be impeached. This keeps our country safe and out of a dictatorship. With these checks and balances, America has the most balanced government in the world. If you wanted to be a senator or House of Representative when you grew up, you would have to get voted in. There are 2 senators for each state. There are 52 House of Representatives per state. That means that you have a much better chance of being elected as a representative than a senator. Anyone can get into politics if they really wanted to. Technically, they could, but first, you would have to go through a lot of school. You'd have to learn about the responsibilities of each branch. You would also need to learn the advantages and disadvantages of all 3 branches. You would have to study all the checks and balances of the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. It would be a lot of work, but I'm sure any motivated person could do it. This is Haley Raposa signing out of News 10.